up, Suns fans? Suns lose. Yeah, nothing new recently. After getting a much needed win on Christmas, Suns lose to the Dallas Mavs this time. Final score, Dallas Mavs 98, Phoenix Suns 89. There is a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today. So let's get right into it. All right. First of all, let's just do a little bit of house cleaning. Merry Christmas. Yeah, Christmas is over. I did not go live for the Christmas Day game because I actually attended the Christmas Day game. So it was really fun seeing the Suns get a much needed win. I know it's probably overstated by now, but that one was very huge morally for this whole team. But it's not the Suns' way of going about things. You know, building up momentum. Who cares? Getting back into it. Who cares? That's not Suns basketball. What are you kidding me? So that's all to say that the Suns, they're back to being very questionable. We had one day, we had a Christmas miracle on our hands, and now it's back to business as the usual as the Suns drop a really messy game. You can't tell from the score already. The fact that neither team got into the 100 mark can tell you a lot, simply because this game was really defensive. Either way you want to look at it, I hate the Mavs as much as the next Suns fan over here, but you have to realize the fact that the Mavs played tremendous defense tonight. As much as I hate to say it, and it's disgusting to even say it, they kept the Suns basically in their box the whole game, as that was the biggest problem tonight. The Suns also played some great defense. Let's not let that go undercover. But as great as the Suns' defense was during parts of this game, it was mainly an issue of offense. This should have been an easy win in theory, on paper, just theoretically, because Luka is out for this game. And so it was only Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving tonight, as Klay Thompson didn't really put up a great game. He only had 11 points tonight. So mainly tonight's target was Kyrie Irving. So it was an old battle between old teammates. Kyrie Irving, he had 20 points and KD had 35. So getting into it, he simply stole the show tonight. 35 points, only one turnover. He was just being his overall efficient self. He only had one foul. Really amazing, efficient night. And what we all know, basically what he does. But here's the funny thing. As great as a night KD just had, I think this shirt actually explains it all. It takes everything. So it doesn't just take a KD going off. It takes the whole team to be passionate, committed, focused, basically all these adjectives here. All right. Because the Suns just simply did not have a bench that was good this game. You know, and that was the main issue. We had a lot of our starting lineup. They were very mixed because of that Mavericks defense. Getting into the other star player for tonight, Bradley Beal, he had a tough game. And otherwise, I would have said good stretch for him recently, as he's been a lot more aggressive because of Book being out of the lineup. So I've really liked seeing this new perspective of Bradley Beal that we've been seeing. So I'm glad he's being more aggressive. It's just that he had a really tough night. He had 11 points, 4 turnovers, and it was an overall 5 and 18 from the field. Just a disastrous night for what we really needed from offense. Part of me wonders if it's just, again, this grueling schedule that we have where, we basically have a day break between these games. But I mean, Mavs also had a bench that was just able to trump our own, So taking a look at the numbers, you had 2 players on the Mavs bench that not only combined for 30 points, but were also in double digits, that being Maxi Kebler and Spencer Dinwiddie. Those 2 were big, huge parts for the Mavs bench. As the Suns, on the other hand, only had one guy in double digits, and that was Royce O'Neal with 14 points. And even then, he still was shaky most of this game, except that second half. So again, the whole team just failed to kind of come up together, raise each other, and just failed to have a good offensive night, especially when we all needed it when Bradley Beal was having a tough night. So that's problem uno, that the bench was having a rough night. Problem 2 was also the defense. Should we get into that second half? Suns were still down. Defense was still tough, and the Suns could not get a shot. They were playing great defense, Just no shot making. Nobody. The Suns were actually shooting so terribly that at one point we're shooting 33% from the field, as the Mavs were also they were shooting 40%. But it all came to a point, as I think the biggest story of tonight is Yusuf Nurkic got into a fight with the Dallas Mavericks, and he literally threw a punch. He slapped Najee Marshall, I believe is his name. And then in defense, PJ Washington, who was also in the area, then shoved Nurk, and all three of those players then got ejected for tonight. Now, there's a lot to say about this moment in the game, as it's really a big opportunity for the Suns, who have been struggling all game with the Mavs defense and having any kind of offense to get going for themselves. So when you have Najee Marshall and PJ Washington, both great defenders on the Mavs team, you really got to take it. You can't squander that opportunity. That happened in the third quarter. Suns did win that third quarter, 25-17, outscoring the Dallas Mavs. But the rest of the fourth, they could not get anything going. And we actually lost the fourth by 1 point, 26-25. And the Suns ended up wasting that opportunity. As credit again, Mavs played some great defense, and honestly the Suns just looked out of it. From the whole Mavs crazy defense is what I would attribute it to. Beal still struggled, and no one else was helping except KD. So he was really the only one putting this team on his back. So yeah. And then there's also the conversation of Yusuf Nurkic. Now, I would like to clear something up here. I have made myself clear on this show that I enjoy myself a Yusuf Nurkic. I really like him as a person, and he has his moments. But I have never said that Yusuf Nurkic is literally the piece that would help the Suns to a championship. God, no. No. I think I've said it before, but I need to reiterate it again here, is that Yusuf Nurkic is really the biggest roadblock in front of the Suns to winning a championship this year. I mean, just having a competent center out there, which has changed this team dramatically, defensively and offensively. It's just a shame that Nurk, as great as some of the nights he can have, he doesn't bring it consistently, and he's just always a thorn in the Suns' back. So it's definitely inevitable when Yusuf Nurkic will leave the Suns. Just it's a question of for who. And tonight was definitely a show of that. Yusuf Nurkic had a pretty bad night. He only had 3 points. Those were his only points of the night, and he was struggling defensively, just everywhere. Until he threw that punch. Apparently, it was a buildup of things. Like, he didn't clock someone just out in the open for no reason at all. It appeared to be a buildup of actions, but apparently Nurkic had stayed behind after like a play, talking to the Dallas bench. And even in the clip after a play, he went back to Najee after he apparently said something. So apparently there's been some bad blood between them going on all game that eventually led to that moment. It's a very interesting thing. And I've already said that it's a huge opportunity that the Suns needed to capitalize, because really no one on the Suns was finding anything. They just needed a offensive spark just to get them back into this game. They were so close, but so far. Again, that Mavs defense was the deciding factor, as Suns simply couldn't get the job done. So the Suns never really led for any moment of time. There's always a gap, and the Mavs simply came out and just dominated. Suns definitely gave it their best effort. You know, their bench sucks. And that's the whole game for you. A really ugly, frustrating one that the Suns just never really had full control of. And it's definitely interesting to see how this is going to affect the team going forward, as I am really curious on what was said to Nurkic to lead him into doing that. So we'll be seeing where that goes in the next few days. I'm sure there's going to be reports about it. And, you know, God, this might even lead to a suspension, worst case scenario. So as of right now, pretty bad loss in every way. And, you know, it sucks. The Suns still having these problems that we've all known that they've had for a while. So they are back on 500. It sucks because I missed the one day that like the Suns actually did something good. I've been talking so much bad about the Suns lately that I missed the one chance where I get to just gush about this team doing something right for once. And the moment I come back, it's back into the crucible. As the Suns are now back to 15 on 15 on the season, and we're back in the eliminated category for tonight's loss. Worst part, it's on a back-to-back. So we'll be back here tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors. And yes, that will be it for tonight. Well, Suns lose. I wish the Suns could do so much more better, but they can't. They can't because the way they're constructed. So we're just going to have to keep going, and hopefully we could get another good win in Golden State. So that's it for me. Just enjoy the rest of the year, and I guess I should start saying Happy New Year's since we're coming up onto that. We have a New Year's game set for Memphis. All right, enough talking. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, have a good night, everybody.